This is the kickoff video for Pitch Jam. I'm going to talk about what it is, and I'm going to talk about and sort of the philosophy behind it. I'm going to talk about a few examples of successful pitches, and I'll talk about the judging phase, which is what we're moving into as of tonight, midnight Eastern time. So what is it? So this is how I pitched Pitch Jam about a week ago when it started. It's like a game jam, but instead of a game, you submit an idea. And this thing could be for a company you want to start, a research proposal that you want to run or to get funded in order to run, or just vaguely something, a project that you want to see exist in the world. So as I've been watching pitches come in over the past week, all the submissions, I've been thinking about what is a pitch. And this is the definition that I came up with. It's a piece of information that's precise enough that once you put it into the right information streams, it leads to resources moving towards actualizing it. And resources here is broadly defined as anything. It could be money, or it could be human labor, it could be attention, whatever needs to move in order to create this thing in the world. So I want to show you some successful examples because this is the target that we're shooting for. These are the things that I want to see come out of Pitch Jam. This first one was essentially my first pitch. It was a Twitter thread that I wrote in November 2024 where I described an institution. I described a category of institution that didn't currently exist. I described something that would A/B test humans, and it was neither a private corporation nor was it like a sociology department. And this got a lot of attention, and then eventually I got a DM from a potential funder who was like, if we give you the money, could you do it? And then they gave me an email that I could send a proposal to, and then I wrote a little 2-pager Google Doc where I expanded on the thread here and how I was going to do it and what the point was, etc. And that's it. And I got the money. This one was $50,000. And okay, but was this a successful pitch? And this is kind of a trick question because let's revisit the definition of a pitch. A pitch is something that, like I said, piece of information. I got that as a Twitter thread. And the Google Doc leads to resources moving, did that, and I placed in the right information streams. Somehow, I don't know how it reached this funder. It just went viral. Maybe someone sent it to him. Maybe they just saw it. But remember the last piece here. It moves towards actualizing. If it didn't actualize and it was not a pitch, we call that fraud. If resources move and nothing actualizes, that's fraud. So the question of success on this one, the jury's still out. Here's another one. This one was a thing where I really wanted to do Twitter data analysis on my Twitter data and on the people I was interacting with, and it occurred to me that I could do it on my own data if I export my archive, and other people could if I asked them nicely, and we could share that data. And I was like, well, wouldn't it be cute if we all just kind of got together and did that, and I had a data set, and I could just kind of keep expanding as it went around communities. So this was a failed pitch because I tweeted this. I tweeted this many times, and people liked it. It got the attention, but nothing happened because it never actualized. Failed pitch. Okay, then I moved on, and this was 6 months later or something. I made a prototype. I made a little version of this where it was very simple, very janky. A few users, I think, got 4 or 5 people trying it, and we had this little, I called it community nest, and it was really cute. And that was a great prototype, and it worked for my purposes. And now this one worked because it showed that people were willing to sort of do this high friction step of exporting the data and then putting it in this thing, and there was some kind of momentum. And then it led to the creation of this real company now, Twitter, behind the Twitter Community Archive, which has like a bunch of people in it. And then later I made, using this, the thing that was created here, this is one of my most popular tweets, where we took this, the Twitter data that was here, and we made, just kind of a little graph of ideas spiking over time, and I was like, imagine if you could see that for the whole world, and a lot of people loved that idea, because that was something I wanted to see as well. And same thing, it led to a potential investor. It was like, wait, is this thing real? Does it work? Can we? What resources do you need? And so this is kind of the question I want everyone in Pitch Jam to sort of again start thinking about. What are the resources that I need in order to make this thing happen? Now, in this case, again, remember I was thinking about this question of like fraud versus pitch. So I didn't think I needed any more money, because I already got money from the first funder, and I was already trying to make this happen, but I wasn't going as fast as I wanted. I think what I was really missing was like, a team, collaborators, people to check my work, really, people to work with. So I didn't take that right, because that resource wasn't the thing that was going to help what I needed, and that's the important part to focus on. So the last few examples I want to just think through here are stuff that's like live, in the sense that they kind of happened last week, or they're like sort of actively happening. So we'll see if it leads to anything. The first one is pretty simple. It was this. It was a single kind of description of a thing that I tweeted, and I got a bunch of attention, which was can a mushroom forest learn to use an LLM and speak to humans? And this is something that like someone was describing to me, and I was like, that sounds crazy, but maybe, I don't know. And I just took he just wrote this to me in Discord, and I just took that and tweeted it. And a bunch of people were like, yeah, I'm actually working on this. And I thought that was crazy. Or like some people were like, maybe I think it might work. Now this one, I would say it could have been actually a big success, because remember, part of what we're doing when we're pitching is like, okay, what do you want to happen? You want the thing to exist, right? So if the thing already exists and it's just sitting there and nobody's using it, I would consider it a successful pitch, in that the thing didn't exist in your world, and now it exists. And so if it doesn't improve your world, then maybe you were wrong about the original pitch. But if it can, then you should go and use it. So this one I'd say is like quote unquote a failure, in the sense of the person wasn't ready to like make use of any of this attention, and that's bad. So this is part of, again, the pitch jam thing, where you should be ready to, like, if resources start moving, if people's attention are moving, you should be ready to take that. The other one is similar, even simpler. Let's see if I can find it real quick. This one is just a single question. I think this is the smallest pitch I can think of. This one's also a failure in that it hasn't led to anything. Although a lot of people were sort of giving good feedback. They're like, wait, this is an interesting question. What is the answer? I'm going to keep trying this one, but it can literally just be a question. If it nudges, if it kind of nudges a researcher or some lab to sort of try that, answer the question, and write a blog post or maybe a paper, then there you go. That was a successful pitch. The last one that's kind of happening live for me right now is this Word app, which I had pitched when I visited New York City, I think in January, and it's currently happening live in like the Community Archive Discord, where it's the idea is there's a Cornell bird app where people find birds and then they like log them in the app, and the app tells them what the bird is and some information, and then Cornell University uses that data to track the migration of birds and where the rare birds are, etc. And we were like, what if you had a word app? And it's like when you find new words, you put them in, and then you see like, am I the first person to report it, or where else has it been spotted? And it's like big beautiful citizen science thing. And I pitched this to Brandon, and we were like, maybe Etymology Nerd can, if it's a thing, can make a video about it, and we can get this big beautiful map. And so someone, I think, made like kind of an adjacent thing that I saw on Twitter, and so I put it in here, and so this might be kind of happening, and this is being discussed now. So we'll see where this one goes. I really want to see that one get created, because I think it would be pretty cool. And then this is part of what I was saying about the right information stream. Like, your thing doesn't need to go viral. It could just be shown to a single human who's motivated to do it, and then they can make that happen. All right, let's talk about judging. So here's kind of how I'm going to judge, or what I'm going to do in the next few days, in the next week. For each project, I'm going to see if I can figure out what's going on there. And then I'm going to ask the question of like, should this exist in the world? Is it going to be good? What good will it do? And then once we get that sorted out, the question is like, what resources does it need? And as I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about like how, and it's like everyone should be thinking about this, how do we avoid fraud? And here, fraud, you can accidentally commit fraud. You can be very earnest about your attempt, but it could be a bad idea, and it will lead to an enormous waste of resources if anyone gave you this money. So preventing fraud is something that's on all of us, individually and as a community. So one of the ideas I have here, and this is why the pitch jam thing is very important. Like you should submit your thing, and maybe if you're the smartest guy in the room, it's kind of your duty to look around what everyone else is pitching and what is getting attention, and call out like, here's why it's a bad idea, or here's why this is not going to work, or here's why it already exists. That feedback is a burden on I think the people who know it to give it, because the people with the resources don't always know that, and they have blind spots. So we have to collaborate to fix them. And one of my techniques here that I think will make this just much easier for everyone is asking like, what's the smallest amount of resources that we can allocate to validate this? I think that's kind of the specialty that I've been doing here with Ori, which is because sometimes what you don't actually need money tests. You just need like skill or expertise, or like time and energy, and so maybe we can allocate that. Like there's a lot of people who would volunteer their time, who are interested in this and can try it. And if the project can afford it, like I think the ideal mechanism is like pay on delivery, right? Like if the thing works, then you pay for it. And so this is why I think the pitch, it'd be nice if people just described the thing, and then someone just went down and did it, and whoever did it and it worked would just receive the resources retroactively. But it requires someone to take the risk. But this would be the one way to make that work. This is an example of a kind of like, if you want to hear me think through like my how I judge, like basically going through this process. Or we did a little Twitter space. I think the main chunk is in the first 20 minutes, where I figure out like what it is, and then why this matters. And maybe I can kind of summarize this real quick here, because Tenebris had this pitch, which took me a little while to kind of parse, but essentially my understanding is he's saying we should have more biology-inspired architectures in AI, and if we do that, it will lead to a lot of breakthroughs. And the reason he's pitching this now is because he's done some of this. My understanding, and I haven't quite dug into this, but my understanding here is he's already done an early experiment or a small prototype that has given him confidence that like there's a big fruitful direction here. So if I got this like notable result from a small experiment, think of how much more we could get if we dig into this channel or this direction. And I liked a lot what he said here about what success looks like, because it makes it kind of clear that because he explicitly said this, if you start to see more of the industry moving towards this direction, then that's success. And so and that's nice because you can see a lot of different ways you can make that happen. Either you can start a big lab and get funded and do all this stuff, you can take the resources yourself, or you can redirect existing resources, which may be easier to do. And I think over the call we kind of decided like money wasn't necessarily what he needed like immediately to get this project to the next step, because we identified like what the next step looks like here, and we were like, maybe what you need is to have people review that prototype you made and like the initial result you have, because either it's actually really impressive, and then maybe that'll convince others to kind of join along, or maybe there's something wrong with it that you're not seeing, and so either way, that feedback would be very useful for you. So this was kind of an example of, and over the call I told him like, oh, I remembered like I have a friend that Meta AI lab there, and maybe if there's a good version of this we can take and I can send him. And it would be kind of win-win because I'm curious like what he's working on, but I haven't caught up with him in a while. So while I'm there, I can kind of pass him this and see what he thinks, and I can pass back that feedback. And it's all pro-social because the feedback will be public. So whatever I learn, whatever you learn, then the world will learn, and then others who are also thinking about this direction will either pursue it more or not pursue it based on that feedback. So I think that's it. If you're in Pitch Jam, get your stuff done, submit it. And either way, you can see the pitches and you can give feedback, and everyone's encouraged to exchange feedback and kind of act as a judge. Because remember what I said earlier about like I'll do my best to figure out what's good here, but if you can help me figure out what's good, that'll help a lot. I'm also gonna be a little loose with like if you couldn't make it into the submissions page, but you put it in the community tab, like I'll take it if you sent it to me, and it's somewhere public on the internet, you know. That's fine. So I tweeted this last night, kind of on a whim. The first part of the sentence is kind of a marketing thing that we might have 10K for Pitch Jam. The footnote is in the second sentence where I think I'll at least probably put up 1K of my own money and maybe distribute it amongst the top 5 or something. I don't know. I'm still gonna figure this out as we kind of look at this. My hope again, because remember I have it in there. The real goal isn't like my signal here. The real goal is for people to describe something that needs to exist, and then to find the people who can make it exist. And the money kind of is a signal for that, but the real signal that it's a good pitch is that it actually ends up happening. Yeah, and this is kind of inspiration. My inspiration here is like Newgrounds. They're still going strong. They do this regularly, where you have a little contest, and the top 5 have these prizes, and the prizes are like there's a community pool of people who donate. I think this would be nice if there's more just people around this internet community kind of doing this regularly. Who are the judges? I mean, technically it's just me making the final decision, especially if it's my own money. If you can find other grants or other people who can match this, that would be great. But I have tapped this guy and this cat to help me decide. Ideally, because both of these people have like a good taste, I would say. And my problem is I love all the things that people submit. I think every idea is worth considering. It's my problem. So I'm going to try, if it doesn't impress them, or at least one of them, it may not be eligible. I'm going to try to anchor it kind of like this. And there's a lot more people who I'm planning to tap for kind of advice or feedback, especially critical feedback. But these two fellows have at least volunteered to kind of maybe get on a video with me and like or a Twitter space or something, and we'll walk through some of the pitches. I think that's it. So thank you all for being a part of this experiment. It's already going like way better than I anticipated. A lot more interest than I expected. I mostly expected this to be a space for all the people that are already pitching me a lot of things, and for them to all just put it together in a single queue, and then for others, on Twitter, on Substack, etc., to start to see what is in my queue. But this is kind of where I think we're going with this, and I really wish other funds started doing things like this, where like if you have a fund and you have way more people applying than you can fund, then maybe I can take that queue of people who already worked hard to make a pitch. Maybe I can help them. Maybe I want to work with them. And maybe if you end up funding something that the other guys think actually was a really bad idea, that feedback can kind of bubble up and surface. So that's it. Thank you all.